Hey, Mortgage Coach community, Dave Savage here for another Skype interview and a real world script with Kyle Rohrbaugh. What's up, Kyle?
Hey Dave, how you doing?
Doing good, man. So you've got some very impressive results at Mortgage Coach. You're doing hundreds of total cost analysis. So great job to you. I was asking Patrick Palmer, one of the leaders at your organization, who are some of the best Mortgage Coach leaders out there who I should interview and pull in scripts, and he recommended you, man. So you're obviously doing something well over there.
Yeah, man, it's been a great tool for me for a long time. I think I first started using it in the early 2000s when you were out on the seminar train, and it was fun to get introduced to it. And now see it evolve and use it so many years later, it's just really cool what you guys have done.
Well, thank you, Kyle. So for anyone who doesn't know you, if you could just tell what market you're in, a little bit about your production and your team, and then let's get into some big ideas.
Yeah, so I've been in the business for coming on 14 years, and I'm in the Gig Harbor, Washington market. We're a suburb of Tacoma, about an hour south of Seattle, and a lot of my business is purchase based. We're about 90% purchase. I sometimes feel like that makes me not very good at doing refis, so I need to get better at doing refis. But we did about 163 units last year in 2016 for a volume of 53 million, and then on track for 200 units this year and trying to hit 66 million. So making steady growth each year, and I'm got a team of 4 awesome folks helping me, do this business and take care of clients, and so it's a blast.
Good job. Well, you're not just in the top 1%. I'd say that's like top 0.5% in the country. So congratulations on your success. Let's talk about, what I hear in the marketplace all the time is that it's super competitive from an interest rate perspective. Big banks have lower rates than a lot of folks. From what Patrick told me, you have some great scripting. You've got a great process to win that rate shopping game. So, why don't you speak to that, and then let's get into how you're using Mortgage Coach within that process.
Yeah, you bet. I think the main thing that I had to start believing is the very real difference in value between what I provide and what most big banks provide. And no offense to anyone out there who works for a big institution. Some of them are awesome at mortgage lending. There's some great producers that are at big banks. But in general, one of the realities of our industry is that big banks are not doing mortgages very well. And that starts with the consultation up front, the thoughtful, analysis of someone's financial situation, the short and long-term implications of their mortgage decision, and that continues on into how that loan is executed. And you start to realize that large institutions, big banks, credit unions, don't fulfill their mortgages with anywhere near the level of certainty or execution that a customer should expect. Out of 100 borrowers, we might do a great job for 95, 97 of them. We screw up 3 or 5. But a big bank, it seems like these days mortgages are just difficult, and they're not doing anywhere near that. They're doing 60% satisfaction, 70% satisfaction. And one of the things that I started to realize is that that's a lot to risk if you're a family looking at getting a home loan. And so you can start to differentiate yourself from day one by using Mortgage Coach, but in the context of that entire story, that we just do something. If you're a professional loan originator, you do something very different than what someone's going to get with the bank that they've been at since they were in 3rd grade.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt in our community of mortgage professionals, they're the most successful in the United States. Every time a survey comes out, it's a very big percentage of them use Mortgage Coach. So I always like to get scripting in this, So what does that sound like? Obviously you believe it, but now you've got to get the family to believe it.
Yeah.
So, you're Mortgage Coach, you have the ability to deliver a total cost analysis to that family.
Yeah.
What does that script sound like? And then how does that lead to a total cost analysis?
Right. So I think the first thing that was important for me to understand in helping someone analyze their home loan terms. And there's sort of two things that maybe I do through Mortgage Coach. One is help them, figure out what product is best. Two is, it's a platform for them to maybe compare what another bank will do for them. The sooner you can do number one and stay away from number two, or delay or defer number two, the better off you are. And so you can kind of get a sense of that. I think it's important to note that, some percentage out of 100, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 20 in some markets, depending on your client profile. Some percentage are not going to care about the value you provide. They like to eat their steak at Denny's and not at the Met in Seattle. They like to grind the car salesman rather than go to the car salesman that they know will take care of them. And I think appreciating that they make their buying decisions that way in every realm of their life, which is not how I would ever buy. I don't, care which vendor is necessarily the cheapest. I want the guy that I trust, and I hope that he'll give me a competitive deal on what I'm paying for. But it's recognizing that we're really here to serve those 8 out of 10 people, and not the 2 that are just going, mortgage company to mortgage company, kicking the shins in of every originator they see to grind the rate down, or they don't really think that there's any difference between you and the credit union's call center in the Midwest, hours away. And figuring that out and being comfortable with that and being okay, like giving a hug and saying goodbye to the 2 out of 10 that aren't good fits for me. It's classic Todd Duncan law of the bullseye. There's enough business out there that wants to do business the way that you want to do business to feel really comfortable and actually owe it to yourself to say no to the business that doesn't do business the way you want it to. So if someone is only concerned with price, you have to get comfortable graciously being okay letting them go. And the quicker you can get there and the quicker you can let them go, the more great service you can do building awesome Mortgage Coach presentations for the 8 out of 10 that are going to appreciate it. So that's sort of the first thing, is kind of recognizing who wants to step into a relationship where you're consultative versus who just wants to, have you quote rates.
That makes sense. So now, and again, what you're going to say, there's a percentage of them, they're going to do business no matter how good or bad you are anyways, because the way
Right.
you referred. And there's a percentage, no matter what you say and how you say it, they're not going to do business.
Right.
What does that sound like? So at least we know, okay, I'm going to get a total cost analysis. And so that the family, when they get that total cost analysis, they're like excited about it. What does that sound like?
Yeah. Well, I love to regurgitate the awesome scripting that so many of the Mortgage Coach community and calls like this have taught me, and that's just simply we're about to analyze the most important financial transaction that you have ever done. For most people, a mortgage loan has a bigger impact on your liquidity, your tax situation, your monthly cash flows than any other type of financial transaction you can do. And so I want to help you do that thoughtfully and with not only the short term, obviously, in mind, but really take a look at what this means for you down the road.
So that is a great setup, And then when you describe the total cost analysis, one, do you call it a total cost analysis? What do you call it? And how do you make sure that when they get that from you, by the way, do you send it via email most of the time?
I will often let them know to expect it, and then I will send it via email. I always call it a total cost analysis. I just think that fits really well with what the purpose of the platform does. And then I'll email it to them. I'll say I have a template built in where I can just plug in the link, and I send it to them and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, I've had a chance to put together a comprehensive comparison for the different mortgage options, and I'm going to put it in this link below for you. I have it built in to let them know to expect that there's some video and audio commentary available if they'd like, and they can download a mobile app underneath the link if they would like. And then I really like to, whenever possible, circle back with them and get on the phone to explain the quadrants of the total cost analysis, the more info buttons to help them understand what a blended rate is, understand what the 5 and 15-year cost comparisons are actually saying. I think that circling back and walking them through what they're looking at and reinforcing that I am doing something completely different than any other bank that they've talked to, and helping them make a really thoughtful decision about what they're doing circling back and having that conversation kind of solidifies my difference as an originator.
Love it. And in terms of the most common strategies, it sounds like purchase options is up there. Are you doing any cost awaiting or move up analysis or rent versus own? Are you doing anything that creates urgency in today's market?
I do a lot of comparisons of 30, 20, 15. We do a lot of single premium to monthly MI comparisons. We do FHA to conventional. We help people understand the different price points and the implication on payment. Probably the number one thing that a home buyer is concerned with. How does 25 grand up or down in price impact my monthly payment? We've done some with the rental the rental analyzer. That's a great tool. I love the notion. I talk about this a lot. I probably don't put it into Mortgage Coach as much as I should, but I talk about it all the time. The whole notion of after-tax real cost of a mortgage payment, after principal reduction and after the tax advantage from interest and property tax deductions. They are so often paying less in mortgage than they are in rent, and your mortgage stays the same for 30 years generally. Your rent does not. So that whole notion to a first-time home buyer or even a move-up buyer is really important, and Mortgage Coach just gives a template to have all those higher-level conversations in a way that maybe just telling them about it does not.
Love it. And then how long does it take you to put together one of these total cost analysis? Is it saving you time? Is it taking you extra time? If you could just speak to a productivity and efficiency of delivering a total cost analysis.
So we're fortunate at our company to be able to have it built in to our sort of our loan scenario builder. So we go in, it's separate from our origination system, but we have a way to build loan scenarios and then copy them and, turn one into a 15-year, turn one into an ARM. And then with one click, it gets sent to Mortgage Coach. And it used to take me a lot longer to build, a three-part, three-program comparison in Mortgage Coach. Now, so often I've already got it built because that's how their loan is put together. And you guys have done a great job making it easy for us to make it into a one-click transfer to Mortgage Coach.
So how long does it take, total time to create a total cost analysis?
Less than 5 minutes to have a really dialed in, accurate total cost analysis.
Awesome. So if you're watching this, and I say it all the time, if it's taking you more than 5 minutes, either one, you haven't been trained how to do it properly, or two, you haven't done it enough times. Remember, when I'm doing these interviews, sometimes it's people who have done over 1,000 total cost analysis. In your case, it's hundreds, over 300 total cost analysis. So, the first 20, you're learning something new. It could take time. So hopefully you got a good script, you heard a good story, you've got a great strategy, and it saves time. Knowing that you're speaking to your peers and folks that are, they either want to be a mortgage coach or they are a mortgage coach. Any last words of wisdom for the mortgage coach community?
Yeah, I just think that appreciating and even saying to a prospect that mortgages are one of the hardest things to shop for. If you can sense that they're concerned about your rate versus other rates, what their bank's telling them, stepping into that pain and sort of empathizing with them out loud and saying, man, I feel you. It's one of the most difficult things to shop for on planet Earth because the price changes every day. You're not only buying a product, but you're also buying a service. So you're not only buying in the same way that if you get a hip replacement, you're not only buying the actual hardware in your new hip, you're buying the service of surgery. And price is not the only thing that's important, or else we would all go to, south of the border or a country that didn't have regulations in the same way or healthcare standards, And so stepping into that, helping them realize the countless variables that are involved, and then most importantly, the line I love that I've heard from other mortgage coach users is that the lowest rate on the wrong product or structure is far worse than a competitive rate on the ideal structure for that client situation. And I think that one hits home a lot. People start to recognize that you're working for them to help them dial their mortgage in the exact way they need, and it's far different than anything any other bank is doing for them. So.
Love it. Last great words of wisdom. We even got another script. So if you could forward us a total cost analysis link that I could put below. So if you're watching this video, you're probably watching it on YouTube. Down below, there's a description box. Check that out. There'll be a link to one of Kyle's total cost analysis. Also, let us know if you like this. Like this in the environment that you're in. You're probably in YouTube. If you're a manager, share this with the folks that you manage. I create these videos to provide leadership, to provide inspiration, to get scripts. We do a lot of training on Wednesdays. We teach how to use our mobile devices. On Tuesdays, I'm interviewing top producers. Thursdays are all about answering any technology question that you have. And now every Friday from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, it's all about productivity. We're doing the Insane Productivity Mastermind and just talking about tactics and strategies to be more effective as a mortgage leader, as a mortgage coach. So Kyle, thanks for taking time to create this video and bring this to the community. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet, Dave. Thanks.
All right, take care, everybody.